So New South Wales recorded 29 locally acquired cases. We'd announced 17 of those yesterday. 28 of those cases are linked and one remains under investigation. So whilst we are linking the cases very quickly and establishing those lines of transmission, what we're finding is by the time we've got to some of those cases, they've already on-transmitted. And so that is the rationale for why our concern level has been increasing. So as an example, only 12 of the 29 cases were in isolation through their infectious period. So that means that each of those cases not in isolation will generate exposure venues. We then turn our mind to where those exposure venues have occurred, and overnight there have been a couple of venues that we're particularly concerned about. So in terms of the there has been a workplace outbreak associated with the Great Ocean Foods at the 511 Cadogan Street on Monday the 25th. So what we're saying is that there's been a number of staff that have been, infections been introduced into the workplace at the Great Ocean Foods at 511 Cadogan Street. And so from Monday the 21st to Friday the 25th, we're asking all staff and anyone who attended that premise. It is largely a retail wholesaler, but every day we understand that about 5 or so people do go directly and purchase food from the Great Ocean Foods. Our concern is that for those individuals, we have QR coded a small number of people, but we believe that there are probably people who did not check in using the QR code that was available at that premise. Also, there were delivery drivers associated with that have become infectious as the Great Ocean Foods. So what we want people to do is anyone who received a delivery from Great Ocean Foods from Monday the 21st to Friday the 25th of June, that person plus their household members must immediately isolate and get tested. Now, the reason we are asking household members also to get tested and isolate is again to get ahead of the rings, because we know if you were exposed on the 21st, on Monday, you might have been able to transmit it to your household during that time, and so we want to lock down and prevent any further spread. There are other venues that I want to particularly call out. In Sydney, the Cheer and Bar and Grill in 561 George Street, Sunday the 20th of June from 1:45 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. Anyone who has been at that venue must immediately get tested and isolate, and we're also asking your household members to again get tested and isolate. Until you have got a negative test result, you will be a close contact, and therefore you will be required to isolate for 14 days. Similarly, in Bankstown, anyone who was in the Rebel Bankstown Shopping Centre at North Terrace from Thursday the 24th of June between 3:45 p.m. and 4:30 p.m, you are a close contact and need to isolate and get tested, and we're asking your household to do the same. Anyone who attended the following venues is listed as a casual contact: the Sydney Palamo Express Cafe in the ground floor 10 Shelley Street on Monday the 21st of June from 1:50 to 2:10, the Casula Oporto on the Casula Central Shopping Complex from Tuesday the 22nd of June to 12:50 to 12:55, and Casula Pasta Italiana Cucina on Tuesday the 22nd from 1 to 1:10. Anyone at those venues should immediately isolate and get a test and remain in isolation until that negative test is received. So in terms of the overall picture, what we're seeing is that we are mopping up a train of transmission that was not previously unrecognised, and that means that there have been a number of people that have been infectious in the community unknowingly for a period of time, and those individuals could have then already infected their families. That is the reason for the escalation in concern. Obviously, delivery drivers who may have delivered to a large number of restaurants and cafes, predominantly across Sydney, raises our concern. Clearly, the interaction between the delivery drivers and the clients may be minimal, but we want to make sure we get on top of that, because obviously that provides another seeding opportunity for areas. I would also like to remind people that there are a number of current orders in place. So anyone who lives and works in the 4 local government areas of Woollahra, Waverley, City of Sydney and, Woollahra, Waverley, City of Sydney and Randwick local government areas, anyone who lives or works in those areas, and also if you go to TAFE or university in those areas, you must follow the stay-at-home provisions. Even if you have come in from outside those areas, stay at home. We also remind people that anyone in the 7 local government areas are not able to move out of metropolitan Sydney. So anyone who has been in those 7 local government areas of City of Sydney, Woollahra, Waverley, Randwick, Canada Bay, Inner West and Bayside, you are not permitted to move outside metropolitan Sydney. The last thing we want to see out of this is any seeding of our rural and regional communities. So please adhere to the health advice. I can also advise that you can imagine, given the number of cases, the venue lists will be updated as we go through those detailed interviews, and people will recall new settings. So before anyone sets out, even for essential goods, which people are permitted to go out to get food and groceries in those LGAs that have those stay-at-home orders, I would urge you to just go to the website. Check the latest information, because you may have been a close contact. Those venues are evolving. Also, please follow the public health advice. If you have been asked to isolate, please isolate and isolate immediately. When you get your test, you need to then directly go home in a safe manner and isolate and follow the public health advice. It is important that we don't see any further growing of those exposure venues. So in summary, the situation overnight has highlighted that an increasing number of people have been undetected and infectious in the community, and those exposure sites have spread. Largely they were contained in the 4 LGAs, but now we are seeing the spread to exposure venues outside those 4 LGAs, and that's the basis for my growing concern. Thank you.